experiments here. So today I'm gonna feed my snake. So what I have right here is a frozen mouse, jumbo mouse, and I have put it in a plastic bag without any other mice in it. So it's just this mouse. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get a Tupperware bin and I'm gonna fill it with hot water. So I'm gonna go to the sink in my house and run it until the water is very hot, and then fill up that Tupperware bin with water. This is nice hot water. It's not hot, but it's like very warm. And here is the mouse. And essentially, I'm just gonna wait until it's fully thawed out and a little bit warm, because snakes use their hunting instinct when it's warm. Also, it is nighttime outside. Snakes are nocturnal. Ball pythons are nocturnal hunters. It is nice and dark, and he has started to peep his head out, like the little peeping Tom he is, and look outside of his cave. He hasn't quite gotten ready to leave his cave yet for the night, but he has begun to poke his head out, which is a good sign. Feel it to make sure that it's all the way fully thawed. This is, but it's still a little cold, so I'm gonna put it in there. How's the snake doing? Oh yeah, he's got his head on the exit of his enclosure, and he is you can't quite see it, but he's got his head on the edge of the enclosure, and he's looking out, and this is what he does when he wants food. So this is good. Hasn't eaten in like a little bit. You should feed them every 5 to 10 days, depending on how. For younger ones, you should feed them every 5 to 10 days, depending on how. It depends on if they're under or overweight. You can feed them up to every 5 days, as often as that maximum, I would suggest. If they're a little underweight, like this guy, but I wouldn't recommend. I would recommend every week, as a good starting point. This guy went off feed and he got a little thin. Snake, you're gonna want to have nice long metal snake tongs like these, or you can feed them by hand, although if you feed them by hand, you can't be like squeamish, like you can't pull away or like whatever. I mean, yeah. Them by hand, which I have done a few times, you have to keep your hand in the place and not be afraid of getting bit, because they will strike for the mouse and you're gonna think they're gonna hit your hand and you'll pull away. And if you do that a couple times, they might lose interest in the mouse. So yeah, if you're gonna feed them by hand, you gotta not be squeamish, and you gotta know that your snake has good aim. And my snake is hit or miss. He got the last guy that owned him had an unregulated heat mat, and he had it got really hot and he had a heat stroke. So my snake's not very smart. He sits in his cage, and if I take away his hides to clean them, he buries his head in the sand like an ostrich. He also does some other things that make me think that he might not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but I have fed him by hand a couple times. I mean, yeah, but I don't usually. And also, the snake has to be comfortable with you. So when I first got him, the first time I tried to feed him by hand, and it didn't work. Maybe he was just adjusting to his new enclosure. But yeah, he might have just been adjusting to his new enclosure and didn't want to eat. But it didn't work out. He refused that meal. So now that he likes me a little, well, he tolerates me, and he knows that I'm not a threat, he's more apt to take something out of my hand if I feed him by hand. So yeah. If a snake skips a meal, particularly if it's a ball python, don't worry. Ball pythons are known for just deciding to not eat a meal for no reason whatsoever, and then the next week they're just fine. I mean, a snake missing a meal or two is not the biggest indication that something is wrong. If it's a boa or another snake with a big appetite, or a snake that almost always eats and has a huge appetite, then I'd be more concerned. But yeah, my snake has decided to not eat meals before, and he's fine. Indication that a snake is sick is that he doesn't look healthy. If he's refusing meals and he's really thin, then you've got a problem. But if your snake is nice and fat and doesn't seem to be losing a lot of weight and skips a meal, he's fine. 15 or 20 minutes, and I've changed out the water 3 times to make sure that it stays hot enough, and this mouse is definitely de-thawed, so time to get to work. Alright, so here we go. So you're going to want to jangle it a little bit, just to pique his interest. You're going to want to shake it. Watch this. Hey, what's that, huh? Do you know what that is? Does it look like what you think it is? Whoa, look, he just struck at it, and he missed. Did you see that? Oh my gosh, he keeps missing. I don't feel comfortable. He missed twice. Buddy. Oh yeah, did you see that? He just got that rodent. Now you're going to want to shake it a little bit, just to make sure that he stays on the rodent, and to make sure that he, this is basically like simulating the struggle of the rodent trying to escape him. And yeah. After a little while, you can essentially just stop. And that's it. That is how you feed your snake. Feed him, I have this weak bulb. This weak bulb in my room is pretty good. It allows for like a dusk sort of setting in my room instead of the bright high beamers on the ceiling. Those are way too bright to simulate feeding conditions. So he has started to swallow that rodent. It's a little hard to see him behind the humidity in his cage. I just sprayed it down with a spray bottle earlier, so like it is pretty humid. But you can see he has unhinged his jars. Now that he has never seen him with a feeding drive that strong. Usually he's kind of wimpy around the mice. However, all of a sudden he's acting pretty crazy around them. Like he just swallowed that mouse. Like I've never seen him swallow a mouse like that before. Does he have a parasite or something? Yeah. I might actually consider trying to feed him 2 rodents, because he just ate that so good. And I've never seen a feeding response like that from him before. But yeah. I think I'm gonna try and feed him another rodent. Sometimes you can feed them 2 if the rodent's a little bit small for him, like these rodents are. Hopefully get him to strike. You don't want to shake his cage while you do this, or else you can break the illusion. Because it's largely like... Dang it. It just keeps missing. Alright, bro. Just get it. Dude. Just get the freaking mouse. Dude, it's not that difficult. Oh, I got it. Yeah, second mouse. I'm feeding him 2 mice at a time now. As you can see, he's grabbed that mouse. And, yeah, he'll hopefully swallow this one as well. And in this time, he is really gobbling that mouse down. We're gonna see the full process of him swallowing, hopefully. Or at least most of it. Until my phone dies, it's at like 5%. But I mean, I would have charged it more, but like, he only stays in feeding mode for so long. So you see, I learned that snakes, after they kill a mouse, where there's one mouse, there's lots of mice. So they stay in feeding mode for a little while, and that's how you can feed them 2 mice in one night, because snakes will stay in feeding mode for a long time. And you can see the lump in his belly from that first mouse. But yeah, he's about to get this second mouse down his tummy, and that's really cool. If you ask me, that's pretty cool. He's getting the second mouse. I mean, this is my first time feeding him 2, and I think I'm gonna go to feeding him 2 a week instead of 1 every 5 days. So yeah, check this out. As you can see, as he swallows it, he uses his spine. He curls it and grabs on, essentially, to force the snake deeper into his belly and down his throat. And you're gonna see the full process of him getting it down his throat as well. After he's gotten it, he's got hooked teeth, so he grabs on, and then he forces it deeper in his throat with every push. And his nostrils are designed so that he can breathe this entire time, and he can also likely go without oxygen for a little bit as well. I'm not sure exactly how snakes do it, but watch this. He's gonna elevate his body so that he can get it down his throat, which is pretty cool. Oh, look at that mouth. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. You eating that mouse? It's pretty exciting if you ask me. Look at him forcing it down there in his belly. 2 big mice. That is a good meal for a snake. He is growing really fast, which is really good. Like, in the span of like a couple weeks, he has like lengthened out quite a bit, and he's gotten a lot longer but also a lot thinner. And I think that's why his appetite is so big right now. Like, he went on fast for 2 weeks and didn't eat for 2 weeks, and I was a little worried, not gonna lie. I was like, is he ever gonna eat? Is he gonna starve? But obviously he ate 2 mice tonight. He's completely fine. Snakes, especially ball pythons, sometimes just go on fast for no reason. Look at him yawning. Yeah, ball pythons will go on fast for no reason sometimes. And yeah, going on fast for no reason is common for snakes. You don't have to worry if your ball python skips a meal and refuses to eat, is what I'm trying to say, because it is more than likely that they will eat eventually. And watch this, I think he's gonna go for a little drink of water as well. Whoa, just ate those 2 mice so fast. It's pretty crazy to me, honestly. Wow. So yeah, snake eating. Pretty radical if you think about it, really. He ate that big meal. He's gonna try and fit in this hide, but I think that his hides are too small for him at this point. Or they might be. I'm really not sure. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next video. Or hopefully the snake, is doing snaky things. Oh, look at him.